Welcome, everyone, and welcome to the interview with Murray Smit, recipient of the 2025 PGA of South Africa International Award. This prestigious recognition follows a comprehensive selection process from peer nominations and personal motivation submissions to the voting PGA membership and also an awards panel. Murray has been chosen by his fellow members and the panel as the deserving winner of this year's award. Murray, thanks for your time. Thanks for making yourself available, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you very much, Dietrich. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me coming from my fellow peers, but as well as obviously the panel that selected me this year. I'm a very proud PGA of South Africa member, even though I am based abroad.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's like I said, it really is an honor to be recognized in this way, and be able to sort of serve the PGA while based in Singapore.
Yeah, well done, man. You're very well deserved. I think you also won it last year. And I mean, there's now about 197 of our PGA members working outside of the country, over 40 countries around the world, which I think is really incredible. And the work they do every time we speak to them, the work they do to grow the game of golf in different countries is just remarkable. So, give us a little insight into your journey and what led to you taking up your role as the national coach of the Singapore Golf Association.
Sure. I think first of all, I would tend to agree. Everywhere I seem to go and travel, I seem to bump into another PGA of South Africa member somewhere. It's quite incredible. I've probably traveled to like 20 plus countries over the last 2 years. And as I said, wherever I seem to go, there seems to be one. So we definitely
Yeah.
are spread far and wide. And all the guys that I meet are doing incredible work in whatever field or avenue they've gone down. So even this week in Malaysia, traveling for a tournament. The director of golf here, Jean Daniels, is a South African. So it's quite incredible how as I say, we spread all around the world, and everyone's doing their bit to try and grow the game. I think in terms of my journey, I'll try to keep it relatively short. But
Hmm.
I grew up in a small town, on the south coast of Durban called Scottburgh, and that's where I learned to play the game on a little municipal golf course. And I think once I'd sort of taken that up, I was pretty hooked on golf, and other sports gradually fell away from that point. And I also spent a little bit of time overseas in my teens, both in the Netherlands and in Dubai. And I think that really opened my eyes to sort of the rest of the world and what opportunities may be out there. And I think even while being based back in South Africa as a PJ member, once I'd become one, I always had some ambition to one day, spend some time overseas and to be able to experience different cultures
Hmm.
and learn about my craft in various ways. So I think it's been an amazing journey within golf so far. In terms of the golfing front and my career, I started off at the Golf School of Excellence, as many have now. Under Michael's mentorship and guidance there, those 3 years through that PJ program really taught me a lot, and I think it really opened the doors to what I've been able to do since then. After that, I tried to play for a short while, but I quickly realized that my game wasn't quite good enough to make it at the highest level, and chose to go into coaching, as many of us do. But once again, Michael took me under his wing, and I worked for the Golf School of Excellence at the time for a couple of years. And that really laid my foundation for my coaching, because I got to work with people like Michael and Martin Breday and David Root, and Cole Hassler and various other coaches. So, I think I was very fortunate to have that opportunity.
Hmm.
I then moved down to the Cape to take up a similar opportunity to work for SwingFit Golf Academy at the time, where they also ran a PJ diploma program. So, that was fantastic, taking everything I'd learned under Michael and at TGSE, and looking to apply that at SwingFit with their full-time program. But at the same time, it opened the door to the club world for me, where I had a dual role, also working as the head teaching professional for SwingFit at De Zalze. So, getting to understand that side of the business, working with members, keeping your diary busy even through the winter months in the Cape, which can be challenging. So I think that was a an amazing opportunity and journey in itself. And again, I got to work alongside great people like James Wade, who's the chairman down in the Western Cape now. So for the PJ,
Hmm.
and then I worked for a year with Etienne Olivier as well. he opened up an academy at Ehrenville, and it seemed an extremely exciting opportunity at the time. So I went down there, helped him get that set up, and we'd really just got it going and really got it busy when the opportunity came up for me to go back to Desalza sort of at my own capacity and open up my own academy, which was something I couldn't turn down. So I did
Mm.
that, and then 3 years, 3.5 years there were just incredible times. Unbelievable membership, a beautiful place to go to work every day. And I was really quite settled in there. I loved the job there at the Zalza, and I love the people in that. But my passion throughout that whole period had always been working with really good young up and coming golfers, which I'd managed to do during that time. I was down there with both SwingFit and with Etienne, and then when I had my own academy. So when the job opportunity came up in Singapore, to come over and to be able to work full time with a squad of now 50 players that we have from all age groups.
Mm.
It was something that I felt at the time I just couldn't turn down, and it's been an incredible experience. The opportunity to just travel to so many different countries, see so many different places, work with people from different backgrounds and cultures, I think has really helped me as a coach. And then also just getting the opportunity to see how many of the very best sort of juniors and amateurs go about their work. And then also spend a lot of time with the other national coaches, and that I think has really helped me develop as a coach in a way that I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I had stayed at home. So I think
Yeah.
while South Africa will always be home, and I'd love to come back at some point, I think these years have been incredible for my personal development.
Yeah, 100%. I think you touched on a lot of things there, and I think you've done quite a bit in the time that you've been away. But I think the thing that stands out there for me, what you've mentioned, is that just getting out of your comfort zone, going doing different things. I mean, it teaches you so much about yourself, and it just grows your own personal career. So I think kudos to you for taking the jump. And um, I mean, your kind of your area of expertise is the high performance coaching side of things, and I think there's when you talk about high performance coaching, there's so many different elements now that play a role in supporting an elite amateur golfer and a professional golfer. What are the areas in an elite golfer that you focus on to create sort of the best version of that person or player?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's really evolved a lot over probably the last sort of 10 to 15 years. I think when I was sort of growing up and we thought about sort of high performance coaching, we mainly just thought of the technical side, David Ledbetter with Nick Faldo and, building a new golf swing. But I think it's really evolved over the last 10 to 15 years. So some of the key areas now that we'd put a lot of emphasis into would be things like strength and conditioning. So I think that's become a big part of golf now. And more than just getting in the gym, also things like movement prep before they even practice, or go and hit balls before they round. During the rounds, making sure that they're hydrating and eating the right things on the golf course. Post rounds, there's a lot of work
Mm.
that goes in on the recovery side. All of the kids seem to now have foam rollers and pulse guns and bands and things that they're using in the evenings to
Correct.
recover. So I think both amateur and junior golf has just become more and more almost professional. They've followed on from the pro ranks, and you almost have to do a lot of these things now to be competitive. But yeah, outside of the S&C, I mean, I think data analytics has become a big part of it as well. Being able to sort of objectively analyze every player's game and work out which areas they need the most improvement, and then we can sort of target those. A lot of time and energy goes into even simple things like practice planning. So, trying to teach the players how to maximize the time that they do have to practice, how
Mm.
they can utilize it most effectively, and again, trying to target the key areas in their game that we feel that we can make the biggest jumps and improvement. So yeah, I think it's become a really holistic approach, from S&C to the data and analytics side of things. The sports psychology is really important. We've got a fantastic lady that works with our national squad, and she comes and joins our training sessions and on-course sessions and is able to provide feedback. So yeah, I think all of those things play a huge role, and my job, sort of the national coach, is to kind of bring all those things together, either to try and teach the kids based on what I know and the things I'm constantly trying to learn and improve on, or to bring in
Mm.
sort of experts in those fields to come and work with the players so that they can give them the best possible advice and chance to improve.
Yeah, I think it's like you mentioned, it's changed. I mean, just the way the game is played and how you have to develop your own body just to adapt to the stuff that happens. I think it's an incredible thing, and to try and get that holistic thing together is very interesting from a high performance side of things. So I've got a question on your sort of transition. So I know I mean, you spoke a little bit about how another country has allowed you to expand a bit of your knowledge as a PJ professional in terms of the traveling and the different experiences you get. But if there's some advice that you can give some of the members, the PGA members who might be thinking of looking to sort of spread their wings outside of the borders of South Africa. I know it's a sort of intimidating thing to do, but you've done it now and you've been there for a bit of time. What sort of advice do you give those ladies and gents that's looking to do that?
Yeah, so I think the first thing to be clear around is it isn't always easy. I think it is tough being away from home, and there is a lot of sacrifice involved in terms of being away from parents and family members and friends and things like that. So I don't think it's everything that we all see on Instagram nowadays and that. So it has its tough moments. Um, but in saying that, by taking that leap, getting out of your comfort zone, going overseas, I think the reason to do it would be hopefully to go and learn some things that maybe you hadn't experienced before. Um, I think getting to see how other countries or golf clubs or people, cultures sort of operate and do things, I think is really fascinating. Um, you might not agree with everything, and there might be
Mm,
certain things you say, no, actually, I think I can add value here because the way we do it back home, might be an even better way to do things. But I think there's been so many things that I've picked up um, just from sitting back and watching how other people operate and watching how they do things, which again, like I said, I just think when you're only in South Africa, everything is done in a way that we used to, and a lot of, I guess, clubs and people would do things in similar ways.
yeah.
But it's interesting once you get out of your comfort zone and you go and experience different things, you start realizing that things might be able to be done in a different way. And
Mm,
sometimes that may be a good thing, that it can be done. So I think my suggestion to anyone who's thinking about going overseas would just be to look carefully in terms of what it is you want to go do and what kind of experiences you want to have, and make sure that it's in the line of work that it excites you and inspires you. Because
mm.
if it is, then I think you'll go over and you'll learn an immense amount. Um, and yeah, that's all stuff that one day, should you choose to come back to South Africa, you can bring with you and hopefully continue to grow the golf industry back home.
Yeah, wonderful, man. Yeah, I think that's solid advice there, Joe. You talk about coming back to South Africa, and obviously we'd love to have you back here one day when you've finished learning from overseas. But South Africa's got some wonderful facilities that a lot of our teachers teach out of. But I'm sure you've also found yourself to teach now at a great facility in Singapore. And you talked about those kind of holistic approaches, but technology is moving quite fast these days. So, what sort of equipment do you use to complement your sort of style or philosophy of coaching?
Sure, yeah. So like when I overseas, whether it's in Singapore or the UAE or anywhere else, I think there's these incredible facilities now where with tons of technology, whether it be launch monitors or 3D systems or force plates, and I think this stuff's becoming more and more commonplace within coaching.
Mm,
In terms of what I use on a day-to-day basis, we've got two TrackMan units. So even before I left South Africa, I had my own TrackMan as well. So we definitely use launch monitors all the time to check what the golf ball's doing, how the club's operating, and then we can make decisions around where we need to make improvements from that. But we also have dual force plates that we use as well. And as I said, 3D is becoming more and more common. But I'd
mm,
say on like a day-to-day basis at the moment, within what we do, we use a data analytics app called UpGame, which is
okay.
probably the thing we use the most, and has probably been the most beneficial tool I think that I've used since coming over to Singapore and being being a part of the national team. Before I'd sort of dabbled in with Upgame and a few other sort of data apps with some of the players in South Africa, but I think once I came over here, it's a mainstay. Every single one of our players has to use it on a daily basis. They fill in every single round, and I think that information and be able to get a holistic picture around how their game's made up when they play really good rounds. What is it about those rounds that they do really well? And then, conversely, when they don't play so well, what are some of the things that maybe they struggle with when they're having those bad days? And then being able to go away and put plans in place to work on those and help them improve. I think that's been a real game changer for me. So I think, all the other tech's been incredible and it's helped my journey. But I think, having stats and being able to look into, what players are doing and how they create scores and be able to find those areas of improvement that we can target, I think has been incredibly valuable. So I would say on a day-to-day basis, probably Upgame would be the thing that has added the most value to my coaching over the last couple of years.
Oh, amazing. We always think that the flight scopes and those sort of tracking machines are the ones that you would use, but these stats, as you say, is just as important. I think it's undervalued within how people play golf here. So from a yeah, I mean you obviously have a lot of proud moments, but what's the most proudest thing since you've been in Singapore that you've achieved?
So, it was interesting. A lot of times I think when we think about proud moments, you start thinking about sort of some of the maybe either team or individual results
Mm.
that we've had from certain players. I mean, we've had some really really fantastic results over the last couple of years, which are hopefully going to inspire quite a lot of the kids coming through to push and do even better. But I think some of the proudest moments I've had are just some of the ones where I've seen players make big leaps in personal development. Um, we have one young lady that this year went and played in the US in a stretch of tournaments, and we've been doing a lot of work with her over the last like 6 to 12 months, working on improving how she prepares for tournaments and how she goes about her business when she arrives on site at a new venue and various
Mm.
things. And I chatted to her before one of the tournaments, and it was the registration day, and they weren't able to get on the course and play, um, or to actually practice that day. But she managed to convince them to allow her to go and walk the golf course and to make notes in her yardage book for the week. Um, and I thought, that kind of thing for me is just it's those little things that make such a big difference. And to see someone who maybe 6 or 12 months before would have been very reluctant to do something like that, I think. And I think a lot of times for a lot of players it would have been easy to sort of just say, okay, well, I can't practice or play today. I'm just gonna,
Mm.
head back to my hotel room, or I'm gonna go, relax by the pool or whatever the case may be. But to take the initiative to then go out and walk the golf course and mark up your yardage book and make sure that you almost like one step ahead of everyone else before your tournament starts or before the practice round gets going the next day. I think those are the little things that make me the most proud as a coach, where hopefully we've been able to make a small bit of impact and get someone to do some things that maybe they wouldn't have previously done, which are going to make a lasting impact to the game in the long run. So I think something like that would probably be the thing I'm most proud of.
Yeah, well done. I think those are the things that you should be proud of is the small things.
Yeah.
And I think that ties into my next question is, from a mentorship perspective, we as the PGA, we're very proud of how we go through the mentorship with our associates, where the associate has to work underneath a PGA mentor. And you've done that. I mean, I've done it. I think it's a valuable system because you learn so much from mentors. Um, and so my question really is, who's been your biggest influencer or mentor within your space and allowed you to grow to where you are today?
Yeah, so I think I've been so fortunate to have so many. I think I've mentioned a few of them earlier on in the conversation. I think from a golfing perspective, because of what he did and helped me with through my time at TGSE and what's now BSI, I think Michael Wilson had a huge impact on me personally. what his academy and what he personally did for me has really set up my career. So, I owe Michael a lot in terms of what he invested in me, and I think it's
Mm.
allowed me to get to where I am today. But as I said, I've been very fortunate. There's been a lot of other people through that journey. As I said, the likes of Martin Brede and David Ruitt, James Wade. When I got down to the Western Cape, was immense. I really value Etienne Olivier as well as a friend still to this day. So I think all of those guys have all had a massive impact on my career, and I've been fortunate, like I said, since leaving South Africa to also have a few of the guys from some of the other countries, the national coaches who have sort of taken me under their wing a little bit as one of the younger national coaches, and provide a bit of guidance and mentorship as well. So I think it takes a lot of people, or there's a lot of people along anyone's journey that
Mm.
make impact. But I think as a starting point, I think Michael was huge, and then a gentleman by the name of Trevor Wilkes, who unfortunately passed away
Mm.
last year, was a family friend who I had the privilege of playing golf with many times, and picking his brain around the legends that he played with in the British Open and the Masters and various other things. So I
Yeah.
would say early on in my career, those two would probably be the ones that made the biggest difference.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned a couple of master professionals in there, so you've definitely had some good people that
Yeah,
mentored you. And I'm very much the same as you. I think
definitely.
if you stick onto one mentor, that's great if that suits you. But I think if you can steal a little bit from a lot of people, I think it just helps
Yeah.
you become a better person. So I think that's exactly the way um, everybody should look at it. Murray, it's been excellent to just catch up with you, man. It's great to hear from you, just giving us a little bit of insight in how you live the touching lives through the game of golf in a different country. We know one day you are going to come back and you're going to give the people in South Africa all that knowledge that you've gained over there. And yeah, we hope to see you at the annual awards dinner. We hope that you're going to be able to come and visit for the evening. And if we do, we'll see you on the 15th of September. But thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thank you very much, Dietrich. Really appreciate your time and everything that the PGA does for me. So much appreciated. Thank you.
You're welcome and proud of what you're doing and good luck. Take care.